Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Arman, and welcome back to the session on Azure. In today's topic, we'll talk a bit about containers, container registry, and how to deploy container registry using Docker. So this activity basically requires that we need to have a basic understanding of containers. So containers are basically lightweight solutions. They are a PaaS service, fully managed service from Azure, where you can deploy the instance or the resource with the limited resources that you need to run the application that is stored into it. So comparing containers to a virtual machine, if you have a look here on this screenshot, so a virtual machine basically runs on the hypervisor, and you can have multiple virtual machines running as a full with full power. Let's say the virtual machine will have the full power of the CPU, the full RAM, the full operating system. It will have the complete operating system. So for example, if I'm recording on my desktop or my laptop or whatever you're using, I'm using the full power of my desktop or the resources to record this. On this, the runtime is installed and the application runs. And the applications are platform dependent, depending on whether you're using Mac or Windows or Linux or what kind of environment. Coming back to containers basically requires an engine, and one of the engine that we use is known as Docker. If you don't have Docker, you need to install Docker onto your system. Docker should be running to run this particular code or this program. So download the desktop version of Docker. It's available both for Windows and Mac, and Docker engine basically make resources platform independent, irrespective of whatever the operating system the resource is in. So the container manager or the Docker will just have the runtime and the application. So if you want to run a particular application, maybe on Linux, you can run on the same engine. The same container or the same engine can run a Windows operating system or a resource or a Linux or a Mac resource. So Docker makes resources platform independent, and you can run your resources onto it. So you can see there are a lot of examples that you can see over here. You just need the bins, the DLL or the library files or the lib folder or the bin folder, and the application. You don't require the operating system, and you don't require the hypervisor to run separate resources. So you just need a basic operating system. Maybe the container is running on Linux or Windows or whatever it is, and then you can run it from your engine. So you can read more about it on the documentation page of Azure. Now you can also create containers over here. So we have got container instances. If you click here, you can simply deploy a container instance by clicking the button, and you can select the resource group, give any name to the container, maybe test container. It cannot have a space in between because it's a fully qualified domain name. It will be in New Zealand, and the SKU is standard, and I'm going to use one of the provided images, whether it is a Microsoft or a Linux or a Windows one. So I can use Windows. It doesn't matter to me whether my container is based on Linux platform or any other platform. These are standard images, or users can also store their own images. So where the place where you store your own images is known as registry. So if you click here and you open another tab over here and you type here registry, so it'll say container registry. So registry container registries, here it is. So here you store your own images. This is one of the activities that I'll be doing in the subsequent videos. So where we will create our own image, and we will push it to a container registry. And from that container registry, we are going to pull it and make our own container. So currently, like we are using quick start images, we'll be using Azure Container Registry to pull that image. Currently, there is none. So it won't work. Then we have other registries. So when we say other registries, We basically mean to say that we have, for example, Microsoft. So mcr.microsoft.com. So that is an example of this. So Microsoft registry is an example where you can store the artifacts and pull up the images from there. So you can have your own registry. You can have a portal of registries where you can pull the images if you want. So depending on what you are looking for, you can look for the services that are available, and there are like around 500 of them. And these are the current ones. If you are looking for databases, it is only going to show you databases related services. Or if you are looking for DevOps tool, it is going to show you DevOps tools or resources, or MCP resources, or messaging services like event hubs or service bus. Then you can automatically go and pull it from there. So you can look for the path, paste it over there. When it is looking for other registries, you can type here the path and you can paste it. So this is an example. So I'm going to use the Windows one, which is going to have 2 vCPUs and 2.5 GB memory. Networking, I'll make it public. DNS label, we will use the default one, and we are going to query on port number 80 because it's going to be HTTP. Monitoring, we'll just ignore it, we don't want it. Advanced, so we will just secure by Microsoft managed keys. And if you want any particular commands to be ignored into it, for example, if it is /bin/bash or whatever, an example, and then you can have multiple commands. So if you want certain commands to be overridden in your script or whatever the command it is there, see, it is showing here that if you want, you can ignore them. So I'm not doing anything, but yes, if you want, you can do it. It's fully optional. Go to tags if you want to put a tag. So I'll just put a tag, location to New Zealand, and I'm going to click on review and create. So I'm creating a very basic default container over here, which I'll show you how it works. And container should be available to us in moments. So I'll go here to container instances. It's still at the deployment stage, and we'll wait for it to come. So we'll click on refresh. It's still creating it. So containers are light in weight. Containers contain only the application and the dependent files and the libraries. That's it. So here it is. It has come. You can click on it. It's still in the pending state. So we will wait for this resource to come, and we'll have a public IP address shortly because it is still coming up, still in the deployment state. And we have got activity log. If you want to record any activities, any control that you want to put it on control, like contributor role or administrative role, etc. Any resource visualization, we don't have anything. Settings, containers, properties, settings. So it has started the container. Now it is there. It is pulled and started. Properties of the container, which is over here. Logs, if you want to lock a resource. Monitoring, I have not enabled monitoring, so I'll leave it, but this is the default one. Alerts, not created, and logs, if I have not. I don't think I have created the log analytics for this. So I'll leave it here. I'll go to overview. I'll just wait for the public IP address to come, which should show in a moment. So let's start it. It should have been started. So I'm just waiting for the IP address to appear. So see, it is here. It has already started. So this is the image that is running. So it's coming from Microsoft.com Windows Server and test container. So here is the IP address. I'll copy it and I'm going to paste it here. And we should have a container image coming up. So this is the default resource that is going to come, and we'll just wait for this to show up. Let me try it on a different browser and paste it and run it. These days it's all about HTTP and HTTPS. Okay, it does not support HTTPS in private mode. Let's have a look here, and let me open a new tab and paste it. In a different browser, or let me go to the guacamole, paste it. Let me try it here. Because the container is running, we will just go here and have a look. We should also have a fully qualified domain name here. It should not have this issue at all. Let me go back here to look to container. This is the image. It is running. Properties. This is here. Go to overview. Okay. Maybe it's a region issue. Should not have occurred, you know. Let's go back to the old experience and see what is there. Okay, let's try to create a Linux container. I'll select the same resource group. I'll select as test Linux, and quick start images. I'm going to use the Nginx or whatever it is. Go to networking. I'll make it public. Port number 80. Monitoring, I'll disable it. Advanced. And tags, I'll just use location as New Zealand. Click on review and click create. Let's go to home. Let's go to container instances. And this is really strange, it is not showing up. So we'll wait to refresh, and we should have a container coming up soon. So here is test Linux. We can go onto it and click, and we will wait. So we will simply go here on container, and it is still getting pulled. It is not available yet. So now it is available, and this is the image where it has been coming from. So we'll go to events, we'll go to overview, and this is the new IP address, so we should copy and paste it, and we click on continue to site, and this is the container instance. So this is the image that you should see in the end. So maybe that is a issue with the image. It did not pull up correctly, or it did not create it. But container instances are created, so the required binary files are pulled up and pushed up over there. So here also we did not see it, but if you want, you can see the other container image over here. So this is about container instances. So you can pull any container image over here. Sometimes you can just start it again. But here what you will see is that if you refresh this container image few times, you will see some data will be generated over here. So how many millicores have been used, how much memory, and how many network bytes received, and how many network bytes sent. So this is just a basic data that will come over here. In terms of monitoring, you will be able to see some metrics over here. So for example, CPU usage. So you saw it. You can add another metric, and you want to select memory usage, so you will see memory usage also. So here you can add another metric where you can see the network bytes received per second. So now you're seeing all of them, but it is too early to see. Let's do it for last 30 minutes and apply. So currently there is nothing major thing that has happened into it. So if you go back here, and if you start refreshing the image a few times, some data will be generated, and you will start seeing the information over here. So it is currently very basic, but after some time you may see some fluctuations in the graph. So it is just this much memory is used, this much bytes received, this much bytes sent, and this is the CPU usage at the moment. So that's all in this video. Try the Windows container later on, it may work. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach me. So this is the latest screen, which is now showing some data with monitoring, and we see that the CPU is now at 0, memory has come down, the number of bytes received and sent is also to the minimum now. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please